if you're doing a staycation, if you're traveling, if you're staying stateside, or if you're going international, let me know. I just got back from Israel, just got back from running a 38-mile ultra marathon the month of my birthday in Jerusalem. So that was epic. If you want, I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. I do have a few pictures, but just got back from Singapore doing a book event. Let me know where you're watching from. Pop it in the chat. I would love to see your chat. I am your host, Michael D. Butler. We're going to be starting in the top of the hour. And for those of you that stick around, I've got a free book for you. Book Idea to Bestseller in 30 days, an Amazon best-selling book that has helped thousands of people go bestseller, writing their best book in 30 days or less. And so I share it. And Tracy, good to see you here from Florida. When you're in Florida, you don't need a vacation. Well, I guess maybe this time of year you do. I'm glad you're here. Let me know about your book. I would love to know, how long have you been working on your book, and if you're writing fiction or nonfiction. Pop it in the chat here. I'm your host, Michael D. Butler, Dallas, Texas. 813 books published globally, authors now in 66 countries. We have to update that every week because we have new books coming out, new books launching every week. We have 4 bestsellers this week alone, and actually, they're all nonfiction business books. We love doing fiction books as well, but this week, something exciting's happening. Normally, people don't launch books in the summer, but these authors are really gung-ho and aggressive and excited, and they're doing great. They're speaking everywhere. So if you ever wanted to get your book out to the world, let us know if you're writing fiction or nonfiction. I'm going to teach you at the top of the hour, within about 45 minutes, how to write your book in 1 hour. So you ready? You ready? You buckled up? Are you buckled up? So glad you're here. You know, another big question I would love to know in the chat is, what do you want your book to do for you? But before I get started, from New York, from NASDAQ, from Times Square, take it away, Michael Butler, Michael D. Butler.
I don't celebrate birthdays.
Take it. Changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond. Michael D. Butler, global book publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
I don't celebrate birthdays. I just don't celebrate birthdays. And I don't remember exactly why I quit celebrating birthdays. Maybe.
All right. So if you stick around till the end, you can watch that with me. I'll share it with you. But I want to jump right into the webinar about writing your book in 1 hour. So Tracy, good to have you here. Good to have everybody watching around the country. I'll be popping some comments in throughout the webinar, but we are live. This is Michael D. Butler at 6 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, June 5th, 2024, in the year of our Lord. Semper Fi, my friend. Emilio, good to see you, brother. Always glad to have Mr. Marine Corps that on here with us. God bless you, sir. You're changing so many lives. But I want to know, what do you want your book to do for you? What do you want your book to do for you? Can you really write a book in 1 hour? And I'm going to say you can, because it's a mindset. I'm going to help you change your mindset and figure out, what do you want this book to do for you? Who is your reader? Here's the cool thing to know. There's still 20,000 libraries in North America. You know, about 10 years ago, there were 40,000 libraries. We're down to 20,000 libraries. Libraries are still the #1 buyers of books in the world. A lot of people thought the internet was going to kill publishing, but readership is up globally. And you know what? I'm going to show you the countries that buy the most books. So if you're writing a book, you need to know who you're writing to. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love this. Now, there's going to be a replay, but you're going to stick around because you're going to get a lot of bonuses for being live and for being here. 140 million Americans have listened to an audiobook. That's almost half of America. Knowledge is doubling every month in a lot of industries, and every year there's 4 to 5 million new titles with ISBNs published. Now, globally, there's about 10 million books published every year, because you know what? Other countries aren't using ISBNs all the time. So how do you stand out with a book? How do you stand out? What is the power of the written word? Recently, I was in DC. This is, you guessed it. You know what this is? This is the book that brought us out of the dark ages. This is the book that caused the Renaissance, that ended 500 years of darkness. The very first book to roll off of the printing press, the Gutenberg Bible. There it is, folks. And I just want to say, what will your book do? Now, your book and my book is not equivalent with the Bible, but it does have the power to change lives. Good to see you, Maria. Good to see you, Emilio. Good to see you, Tracy. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're watching all across the fruited plain. And get your questions ready. Pop into the chat. Let us know what you're writing, what you're working on. You know, I love fiction. I love nonfiction. We've got authors in 66 countries. And you know what? You could literally write a book. You could literally be on the news in the morning with the book cover doing a book interview for a book you haven't written yet. And that would be cool. You know what? I've had authors do that because they announce a conference. They've got a conference next month and they start pre-selling a book. I want you to start thinking about books differently. Okay? Your book is your intellectual property. It's a gateway. Your book is like an anchor tenant to a piece of real estate, commercial real estate. Think about your book being the anchor tenant. And with your book, you're going to do a lot of things with that book. You're going to create business with that book. You're going to create cash flow with that book. I just got back from Jerusalem. I just got back from Singapore. I've spoken in 18 of the 38 countries I've been to. I'm going to many more countries this year, and I want to take your book with me. A lot of people thought the internet killed publishing. Readership, it's up globally and continues to rise. I've actually got a heat map I'm going to show you in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere because you're going to want to see this heat map. Take a screenshot of it, and it's going to change the way you think about books, because I'm just a nerd kid from Oklahoma with my library card maxed out. I grew up on the farm with a brother and a German Shepherd and two loving, awesome parents who are about to celebrate their 60th wedding anniversary next week. Can you imagine? That's just epic. But, you know, I stuttered as a kid, but I would steal my brother's library card so I could max out his library card. I didn't max out credit cards. I maxed out library cards. We need more of that. And the librarian, when I was 11, gave me a book written by an 11-year-old kid. And I don't remember his name or the name of the book. All I remember is a picture of a sailboat on the front of that book cover. This is me giving a speech and to 300 classmates, and I didn't stutter. I'm 11 years old, and with the help of the Holy Spirit and with the help of my speech therapist, I overcame, and I'm speaking all over the world because of the inspiration that I found in that book by that 11-year-old kid. So I'm really blessed to work with a lot of amazing people. Most proud of my 4 sons and my 2 grandsons. And I just got to say, the future looks bright. The future's bright. Retired attorney and Frogville author Charlotte J. Frost, her first book, Power at the Table, she wrote in my webinar on how to write your book in 60 days, which this was a course. This was a course I taught for free during the pandemic. Yeah, that's right. During the pandemic, I taught this to hundreds of people. And I basically condensed it down into this course and into this book, which I'm going to give you the book for free here in a little bit. But she's gone on to write 5 best-selling books. So way to go, Charlotte from Frogville, Oklahoma. Big passion of mine, and our publishing company helps fund this. We've rescued 416 girls from human trafficking in Pakistan, started 221 churches over there, making a huge difference, a huge impact. We're feeding 40,000 meals a month thanks to our Beyond Publishing authors, and I'm planning a trip back there very soon. We actually print books in Urdu for kids in Pakistan, so we're really changing the country over there. So I look at books as changing the world. You know, as a kid, did you ever just want to be a superhero and go change the world? Well, I tell you what, you can go change the world with that book. Good to see you, Erna. Glad you're here. And you know what? You can change the world. You can be a superhero. And instead of wearing a cape, you're bringing books. You're bringing boxes of books. You're showing up and you're teaching people how to achieve more, how to do more, how to be more. And so pop in the chat. I would love for you to pop it in the chat. What do you want your book to do? What do you want your book to do for you? And, you know, some people write a book because they want to get more stages. Some people write a book because they want to get more speaking gigs. Some people write a book because they want to charge more for coaching and speaking. Some people write a book because it's a lead magnet to generate leads to, well, number one reason people write a book is for credibility. That's the number one reason. I think that's a great reason. Credibility, writing a book is one of the fastest ways to own your keywords, to own a topic. If you wanted to be an AI expert, you would have need to publish the book last March. You're about a year and a half late coming to the game to publish a best-selling book. I mean, you could still do it, but you're kind of a latecomer. And we're glad you're here. Peter says 100%. Tracy says yeah. And Emilio says blessings. Michael D. Butler. So we appreciate that. And Tracy, she's ready. She's always ready to write a book. And Peter, her life is a book. So there you go. Her life is a movie. So some people are writing a book because they want a movie deal. Speaking of movie deals, they want a TED Talk. You know, one of the best ways to land a TED stage is to, hey, Dr. Julie in the house, is you want to have something on your website. Well, get it up there right now. You can do it before this webinar is over. You can do it. Just keep tuned into the webinar. Turn your notifications off. Turn your phone off. Dr. Julie, it's good to see you. We're so proud of you and Exatio in that book. But maybe you want to speak more. That's the best way to do it, is to launch a book. Pop it in the chat. What's the reason you're writing a book? Facts about writing a book. The Publishing Institute says 380% more revenue for consultants, 219% for public speakers, and 194 more for real estate agents. I tell you, a lot of real estate agents right now should be writing a book. The market's cool off. They should crank out a book in 1 hour. So get your realtor on here. Let's help them crank out a book and sell your house. How about that? Meeting planners say that you're 68% more likely to land the speaking gig and get booked on a stage if you got a book over somebody that doesn't have a book. And these are just the facts. These are the hard numbers. Do you want to educate? Do you want to inform? Do you want to motivate? Do you want to persuade? Do you want to inspire? Somebody put in the chat, inspiring others to give up so they can build the better life for their children and grandkids. Okay, that's great and everything. But, you know, at the end of the day, most people aren't going to change, right? We have to give them practical how-tos so they'll know how to change. And inspiration doesn't get people very far, but information does. And I'm going to get into that. How do you write a book in 1 hour? Know exactly why you're writing the book. You want to do it for fun, for travel? Here's a big one. And this one is overwhelming. Of all of our authors, our 822 books that have been published now, with 200 authors, our average author does 4 books with us, is personal growth. It's gone from credibility to personal growth, because personal growth and the spiritual journey, Carlos Ocho says, and I agree with you, brother, change people's lives. Yes, Dios lo bendiga, amigo. I believe you there. You got a life-changing word. Write a book. And it's the spiritual growth. It's the spiritual journey. And I tell you what, that right there, the book becomes the product. It becomes the signature product that really changes the world, because it becomes the anchor tenant. You build everything, your coaching program, your platinum mastermind, everything you do with your business, the book becomes a lead magnet to everything you're doing. One of my favorite quotes here is "Sharpening the Axe" by Abraham Lincoln. If I had 6 hours to chop down that tree, I'm going to spend the first 4 sharpening. Hey, I grew up on the farm. Dad made us chop wood with an axe, my brother and I, and believe me, it's all about the strength. It's all about the sharp. It's all about the razor's edge. And the book gives you the razor's edge, the cutting edge, to do more with less, faster, because people, we're competing, right? We're competing for eyeballs. We're competing for impressions. We're competing for people's attention. And we can't sell a book unless we get attention. And we don't just want to sell a book. We want to sell a $20,000 coaching course. We want to sell a mastermind program. We want to sell a house. We want to sell a car. We want to sell an insurance policy. Let's be honest. If we're a pastor, we want to sell them Jesus. We want to sell them on the idea of going to heaven instead of going to hell. We want to sell people on the idea of having a better second marriage than their first marriage. We want to sell people on the idea of retiring early. We want to sell people on the idea of blending a family and raising better stepkids. And these are things that people buy books for. And I'm going to tell you, 85% of Americans want to write a book. Only 15% ever do. That was a great slide. I shared this on CBS New York recently. 85% of Americans want to write a book. And so pop your thumb up in the chat. Give me a number 1 in the chat if you want to write a book, but you haven't done it yet. Pop a number into the chat, the number 1 or a thumbs up. And you can relate, right? You can relate, because here's the thing. It's like growing up on the farm and shoveling horse manure. I'll never forget, I was 8 years old, and one Friday, Dad said, boys, you're not going to play with your friends tomorrow. He had a 1963 Chevy truck, and he says, we're going to go shovel horse manure. And I thought he was kidding, right? But sure enough, that we're going to plant a garden. It's about a 1-acre garden. I'm 8 years old. My brother's 10. We get my German Shepherd dog, Joe, and we go down the road to the neighbors and Dad's 63 Chevy, having a good time. The wind is blowing. And we start shoveling manure at 8 a.m., horse manure, because I learned not all manure is created equal, and horse manure is better than cow manure. And my dad is actually paying cash money for horse manure. That's right. So it starts to get hot. We start sweating. The wind's blowing. You got manure flying in your face. You got your big brother throwing a shovel load of manure in your face. It went from being a fun day to being a downright crappy day. It was a crappy day. And I got to thinking, writing a book is like shoveling horse manure, because so many times we've been through our trauma, we've been through our pain, we know what we want. Here's what we want. We want organic vegetables at the farmer's market, right? We want to go out there and pick a fresh watermelon, pick a fresh tomato. We want to go have those vine-ripened, delicious fruits and vegetables, but we forget it takes horse manure. And so we shoveled horse manure all day, and we pulled weeds all summer, and we watered all summer, and we kept the bugs out, and we fertilized all summer long. And at the end of summer, this is what we had. And you know, those 85% of Americans that want to write a book, the only reason that 15% ever get it done is because they can push through the BS to get some of this love that they can share with the world. Because you know, when it comes right down to it, the BS we've gone through is not really going to help anybody. It's not really going to help anybody unless we can turn it into this. And we got to figure out. And this is the reason that memoirs don't sell. You can write your memoir, but people don't buy memoirs because they don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the bandwidth to process your pain because they're going through enough of their own hurt, pain, and BS, right? And so what they want, what they need is take your memoir, turn your memoir into a how-to, which is the fastest moving category of nonfiction. Memoir is the slowest moving category of nonfiction, but how to survive a divorce, how to overcome the death of a child, how to bounce back after cancer, how to recover from a bankruptcy, how to retire early, how to lose 50 pounds, how to improve your credit score 30 points in 60 days. This is what people are typing into Google, how to do XYZ. So if you can go from trauma and pain and shame and blame and hurt and go to this, how to, 3 steps, 5 keys, 6 ingredients, 7 secrets, 10 lessons, 12 golden nuggets, and 10 or 12 is about as many as you want, or your book starts getting too big. Keep it simple. Keep it really simple. Make it 3 things, make it 5 things, make it 7 things. How many books can you think of that offer a solution that sell millions of copies? How many memoirs do you remember that are processing somebody's BS? They never sell more than 2 or 3 copies. And what you build on the other side of this is not only helping people recover from their pain and move forward with their life, but you've got a coaching program, you've got a podcast, you've got a mastermind, you've got a community, you've got a whole network of people. This becomes your legacy right here. And this is what is so exciting. Michael D. Butler is pure magic, says Dr. Forbes Riley. Yeah, we agree. We agree. Thank you very much, John Maxwell, Brian Tracy, Dr. Forbes Riley, and many, many more. You know, our clients, we just recently got featured. We've got a new book coming out next month. And we put the White House logo on our website. So more on that to come. But if you ever heard the term Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, there's a movie coming out next month, or actually in August. So we're launching the book about the movie, about that speech that Ronald Reagan made. So you're going to love it. You're going to love it. So here's 5 things to really sell books. As we get into how to write your book in 1 hour, you've got to understand the 5 C's to sell millions of books is cover design. They all start with C. Cover design, content, community, conversation, and controversy. And tonight we're talking about content. We'll get a little bit into cover design, but I'm mainly going to get into content. Okay, who is your reader? This is so important to know who's going to read your book. It's not your neighbor across the street. It's not your sorority sisters. It's going to be 76% of people living outside the U.S. Look at that heat map and tell me where people are buying books. You really need to know this. So as you're writing the book, as you're realizing that 87% of readers are women. So my very first book, The Single Dad Survival Guide, great book here, my first book, a resource for single dads. But you know what? Men don't read books. Men don't buy books. So I had to package this as a gift book that you would give to the single dad in your life going through divorce as a gift package. And so when I'd speak on podcasts, that's what it was about. And every Father's Day, hey, I'm mentioning it now, June is coming up for the father in your life. It's called The Single Dad Survival Guide. And it's even got one of my old pictures back there. Check it out. Check it out. There it is. Single Dad Survival Guide. But men don't buy books. 87% of readers are women. So as you know that, you can write your book accordingly. And here's the target. It's what it looks like. 60% of the world's book sales, global book sales, is fiction. And it's primarily romance. So if you're writing a nonfiction book, you've got a smaller target. If you're writing fiction, you've got a bigger target, but you've got more competition because there's more people writing and publishing fiction. So really realize who your reader is. Who is your reader? What action do you want them to take? Now, here's the screenshot I said you'll want to take. This is the heat map of which country reads the most books. Number 1, India. Number 2, Thailand. And number 3, China. U.S. is like number 24, 25 on this list. That amazing or what? Here's a pop quiz. Hey, from Georgia. Good to see you, Peter. Hey, from Georgia. I think maybe your neck of the woods, it would rank a little higher. But what is the number 1 English-speaking nation? Here's a bonus. Drum roll. If you said America, you would be wrong. America is not the number 1 English-speaking nation. That would be China. So really do your research. Really know who your reader is. Really know what action you want them to take. And here's some tips to have effective writing parties is write at the same time each day. Just like going to the gym, there's something released in the body and in the mind, the endorphins, the creativity genius kicks in. Half the battle's going to the gym, right? So you show up at the computer, the same time every day and in the same location every day. It doesn't matter the amount of words. Doesn't matter how long you sit there. Consistency is the key. If you write 1 word, or 1,000 words. Some days I write 2 sentences. Some days I write 20 pages. It's all about consistency. Visualize your reader. Is she over 40? Is she under 40? Is she a college graduate? Does she live in the South, or does she live in South Bronx, or does she live in Southampton, or does she live in South Africa? You need to know who your reader is. Here's a big one. Be wary of feedback from family. I don't recommend you get feedback from family, because family is really good at pushing hot buttons and really good at telling you if you're a world-renowned singer that you can't sing or you shouldn't sing, or if you're a world-renowned saxophonist that you shouldn't play the saxophone. And you know what? They don't really think objectively, but treat your writing as if it's a timeless classic. So if you're writing with cultural references to date-specific things in your state, in your city, it might not be culturally relevant to the rest of the world. And I'm going to give you a little bonus here on using ChatGPT. Should you use ChatGPT to help you write? I say yes, but you've got to use it in the right way. So as your publisher is getting ready to publish your book, we get asked questions. We get asked questions by the distributor. We get asked questions by Amazon. We get asked questions by all of the retailers. Was artificial intelligence used to create this book cover, or content? And we have to honestly check no. So you can use ChatGPT and artificial intelligence to do research on your book, to do marketing for your book, to do market research for your book, to organize your table of contents, to make your chapters more engaging. You can ask ChatGPT and artificial intelligence to help you tweak a chapter, rewrite a chapter, make it for somebody living, I'll use bitter, in the South compared to somebody living in New York or the Bronx specifically, or Los Angeles or Orange County or the Bay Area of San Francisco. So be very specific. Say, rewrite this chapter for a 16-year-old female reader who's struggling in school, and it will rewrite the chapter for you with that criteria. So I use ChatGPT all the time. Encourage our authors all over the world to use ChatGPT when writing back book cover copy. What do you put on the back of a book? Writing a press release, writing social media content. I was doing research recently, and I asked ChatGPT, I'm writing a core values faith base. I need a 10-book series set in the Midwest of a girl is the heroine, and her name is Mia. And it's about kindness. It's about loyalty. It's about friendship. It's about peer pressure. And I just popped that into ChatGPT, and within 30 seconds, it kicks out for me 10 synopsi of 10 different books, title, subtitle. It gave me characters, like 10 different characters. It broke it down for each boy and girl character on their name, what they look like, their characteristics, each page of each book, what it should say, and then what picture I should create for each page of that book. And literally could have created that 10-volume children's series in one day with the help of ChatGPT, just to give you an idea of how powerful it really is. So it really is powerful. I say use it, don't abuse it, but it's not going away. It's going to be here. Now, as I was teaching this course throughout the pandemic on how to write your book in 60 days, hundreds of people came through there. Hundreds of people eventually published their books, some with us, some on their own, some with other publishers. But here's the content I taught, and here's the content I put on the book. In the book I did, a bestseller that I'm giving you tonight, that I'm including with the offer tonight, is why write your book. You got to get rock solid on that. You got to know why you're writing it. Who is your reader? Who is your avatar? What do you put on the back of the book? How do you write a sellable title and subtitle? How do you write a chapter in 20 minutes? Now, I'm going to give you a bonus. This is the most requested module. People say, Michael, can I really write a chapter in 20 minutes? And I say, well, I'm teaching you how to write a book in 1 hour. So if you want to write a book in 1 hour and you're going to write a chapter in 20 minutes, your book better have more than 3 chapters in it. But this is the most popular module, is how to write a chapter in 20 minutes. And it's based on my research and my speaking. Finding the Speaker's Edge here is based on me giving 3,000 paid talks in multiple industries over 3 decades and training speakers for the last 30 years. And I take that same formula, and writing a keynote or a workshop is the same as writing a chapter, and the way you develop that. Hooks and transitions to keep the reader engaged, storytelling masterclass. And then in the marketing bonus, you're actually getting 4 videos, how to get celebrity endorsements for your book. Would that be cool? How to get more Amazon reviews, how to go bestseller on Amazon, how to get people to help you pre-sell the book even before it goes live. Would that be beneficial? I'm going to include all of that. And if you want the video where I give you the 5 key ingredients to write a chapter about anything in 20 minutes, I want you to text the word video. Text it to my cell phone. This is my actual cell phone, 918-955-3227. And when you text the word video, I won't get it till after the webinar is over. My phone's off. But go ahead and text me, and I'll just text you the link to that video on how to write a chapter in 20 minutes. And I'll just give you the entire course, actually. If you want that entire course, I'll give you this entire course that has got 12 videos that are going to help you write your book. You can literally go through this course in about 2 hours, because it's very targeted information on how to get celebrity endorsements, how to write a chapter in 20 minutes. What do you put on the back of the book cover? All of those things, okay? Once you get rock solid on who your reader is, woman over 40, under 40, what they are reading right now, I show you how to drill down and see with the tools of technology what your target market, your reader, is reading right now. What podcast are they listening to right now? And then how to create the stage of influence to steal the eyeballs from those stages, and how to speak on those stages. I'm talking virtually and in person. So what events are they attending, and what action do you want them to take with your book? It all goes into how you package and present and show up in the world with your book. Now here's a big one, and my phone's blowing up now. People are texting me the word video to 918-955-3227. So hopefully you got a screenshot of that. Hurry, grab a screenshot. It's going away. Grab a screenshot. Text me now. It's going away. Okay, so this is so important. And depending on who your publisher is, you need to talk to your publisher. Making your book a bestseller before it launches and getting people to pre-buy your book, your hardcover, your paperback, your ebook, to pre-buy your book before it's even released. This is so important because it gets the Google algorithms working. It gets Amazon and the other retailers' algorithms working so that they start suggesting your book. People that bought this also bought this, and pushes it out. You need to talk to your publisher. It's something we do for all of our authors. It's included in our basic publishing plan because it just makes sense. Now, let's educate ourselves real quick on the 3 types of publishing. When you're an author, when you're writing a book, you figured out who your audience is. Maybe you've even figured out what your title is, and you know what you're trying to do. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate your kind words. And you know exactly who your reader is, what action you want them to take. You have one of 3 options once you're done with what I call the vomit draft. Now, the vomit draft is, well, thank you, Peter. Great to have you from the South, and we'll see you soon. So the vomit draft is the manuscript that you wrote, pre-edited. It hasn't been to editing, hasn't had anything done to it as far as interior design goes. You could either pitch it to a traditional publisher, you could pitch it to a hybrid publisher, or you could self-publish. Let's start with self-publishing. What is self-publishing? Self-publishing is when you do everything yourself. All right, that was easy. So it's kind of like doing your own oil changes, mowing your own lawn. It's kind of like doing your own electrical. Now, I don't do electrical on my house. Some people like to do their own plumbing and electrical. I don't really do that. So I hire that done. Now, the average self-published author never sells more than 200 books. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the main reasons is because Amazon is only about 50% of the world's book sales. And when you saw that heat map earlier, you realize that most people aren't buying books outside or in the US. They're buying books outside of the US. So when it comes to selling books globally, if you're speaking on a podcast in South Korea, in Thailand, in South Africa, in South America, people aren't going to buy your book from Amazon. They're going to go to a retailer that they use in their country. And there's hundreds and even thousands of online retailers that they would buy your book from. All right. Of course, they can buy it from your website, but even on your website, you're probably going to have links to Books A Million and to barnesandnoble.com and to other sites they can buy it from, right? So you don't have to ship it and fulfill it. It's going to show up on their doorstep the next day because they're buying it from their favorite retailer. So self-publishing is tough. You make 100% of the royalties, but you don't get global distribution. And you have to do everything yourself. You have to hire an editor. You have to hire a cover designer. You have to hire somebody to do the interior design. You got to figure out how to do a Library of Congress. You've got to do the ISBNs. You've got to do the copyright registration. You've got to do everything. The marketing. They haven't even talked about marketing yet. How do you do an ebook? How do you make the ebook conversion? You ever see these self-published ebooks and they're in Word documents, so you're trying to scroll through on your phone or the iPad and they're all wonky because they haven't had a proper EPUB 3 conversion, industry standard format. So it reads on 100% of the world's electronic devices seamlessly. And so you don't get that with self-publishing. So you end up spending thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours watching YouTube videos trying to figure out how to do it yourself, and you still can't get your book into a bookstore or a library. So you're pretty much like, should have just gone with one of the others. Traditional publishing was really hot in the 70s or 80s pre-internet. And the reason for that was you could get global distribution with a traditional publisher. The downside to it was you had to be a celebrity person. You had to be an Oprah Winfrey. You had to be a Joel Osteen. You had to have 2 million followers. You had to have, in pre-internet, you had to have your own TV show. You had to be a celebrity football player, basketball player, or spokesperson. You know, you had to be somebody famous or you didn't get a traditional publishing deal. And you didn't own the rights. You never owned the rights. And people that are doing traditional publishing deals, even to this day, they don't own the rights to their content. So what that means is They're only making 7 to 15% royalties. They're getting global distribution, but they're making a very slim margin of the royalties compared to what the publisher's getting, who's getting 85 or 90% of the royalties. And you have no control over the content. They can change your content, your cover, and you can't repurpose your content. You can't reuse it anywhere in your coaching program, in your mastermind, on your website, in any of your other intellectual property. They own it. They get a movie deal. Guess what? You're basically screwed. You're going to get a small percentage, but you're not going to get the lion's share like you would if you went with hybrid publishing. So in traditional publishing, it's kind of died in the last few years for that very reason, because they're only publishing people that are coming back that have been doing traditional for years. And some people say, well, I want to go for traditional because I'm going to get an advance check. Let me tell you, for those of you that get an advance, okay, and it's pretty popular in the business community with some publishers out there that'll offer you a $5,000 advance. You have to realize that an advance is a payday loan against future royalties. And most authors that get an advance, they never see a royalty payment. All they see is that initial check, and then their royalties come to pay back at interest that initial payday. I call it a payday loan because that's really what it is. They tack interest onto that, a high rate of interest, to prepay you that book. And then you're bound to them to travel the country and speak everywhere and sell that book. And you don't even own the rights to that book that you wrote. So you're back at square one trying to write another book so you can get another advance check. And it just doesn't make sense. Why not own the rights? And the other thing with traditional, it takes them 2 to 3 years to bring it to market. You're waiting for them to bring the book to market. And you know, as fast as things happen now in today's market, trends happen, things can turn on a dime. You want control of your intellectual property and content. And so that is hybrid publishing. You own all the rights. You make the lion's share of the royalties. We bring your book to market quickly. We literally have brought books to market within 2 weeks. Normally we need 4 weeks. We can do a rush if we have to, if somebody's got a conference or something. But this includes, you know, cover design, editing, interior design, formatting, ebook, Amazon bestseller, all the things that you need to properly be presented in the world, on the world stage, and to have the right marketing. You own the rights. Any movie deals, you get all that. Any licensing deals, any streaming deals, you get all that. So you're in the driver's seat. You want to change the cover, you can do that. You're the author. You've got full veto power under hybrid publishing. There's a one-time out-of-pocket author investment, which is about equivalent to self-publishing it yourself, but it's done properly. So it can go into libraries. It can go into bookstores. It just makes sense. So do your due diligence. There's not a right choice for everybody. Everybody's different. Know the deal, read your contract, negotiate, read your contract. Because at the end of the day, with over 4 million new books published in the US every year, you've got to stand out. You've really got to turn heads because it's a busy marketplace. How do you get a complete stranger to buy your book? It's easier if you're speaking on a podcast, but you got to have a compelling cover. You got to give them a reason to turn over the cover and read the back cover. And when they read that back cover, you got to hook them to get them to read the table of contents, and they'll buy your book based on one chapter. What is a movie trailer chapter? They'll spend $25 with an author they don't even know, haven't even heard on a podcast, because you promised to improve their credit score by 30 points in 60 days, and they'll buy the book based on that one promise. So what is a movie trailer chapter? How do you write one? Why is it so important? Did you know most people don't read past the 9th page? Well, you can hook them and keep them reading the book. My course that I'm going to give you is going to show you how. But here's how it works with hybrid and with us particularly. You've got the potential of 1 billion readers. Imagine that. There's 8 billion people on the planet. And with our distribution, of course, you see Amazon on here. They're only half the world's distribution. You got all these others on here that you recognize, companies like Walmart, companies like Books A Million, iTunes, companies that you recognize like OneDrive, Audible, Rakuten, formerly eBay, Apple. Some of the world's biggest brands, those are domestically, those are in the US. And then you go over here on the right side, and these are all the international distributions for the book. So for the book to get into 200,000 libraries, for the book to get into hundreds of bookstores, for your book to get into hundreds of countries, over 100 countries, and the potential of having 1 billion readers, that's what hybrid publishing is. And that's why we should really talk. If you're thinking about doing a book, here's my offer. Here's what I'm going to make this offer. And you were invited to this webinar because somebody cared enough about you, thank them for inviting you. And if you're going to do a hybrid publishing, you can shop around. Most hybrid publishers offer a package that looks similar to this. This is what we offer. To do the book cover design, the interior design, copyright registration, the ISBN, the Library of Congress, the Amazon Look Inside feature, the Barnes & Noble Read Sample, EPUB conversion, we talked about that. To put your book up to hundreds of sites, the hardcover, the paperback, the ebook, to do all of that for you is $875. To get your audio book up on iTunes, ACX Audible, most people charge about $1,000. The Amazon bestseller, which is so important to reach Amazon bestseller in the first week, to get the algorithms and the Google juice working for you, to do a national press release. That's so important for your search engine optimization, to give you that valuable backlink to your website, to get your book going, to get podcasters talking about you. Editing up to 40,000 words. This is where we're going to do editing for you at 3 cents a word, which is very competitive. That total publishing package comes in at $9,100. And that's what most people charge. That's what most good hybrid publishers charge. And that's what we charge. But that's not all we do. We do a lot more for you than most hybrid publishers because we're way above average. So what we do is we give you your first media interview, which is $2,500 value. We give you a push out through the podcast network. One of our authors named Debbie Adams from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, has done 23 podcast interviews she never did. She's a faith author from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. She never had been in the media. She's done 23 podcasts as a result of being published by us and going through our podcast network. Part of the Facebook group that's now over 1,900 authors in our Facebook group. You get invited to annual events in the U.S. and beyond. We just had an event in Singapore. Earlier this year, we were in Thailand and Singapore again. We were in Israel. I was in Jerusalem 2 weeks ago. We're going back to Asia. We've got events this year in Miami, Florida, and Guadalajara in Germany. So we've got events all over the world, in Kentucky, stateside, everywhere they have book shows. We invite you. I give you the book writing course for free. Those of you that texted me will get that. The weekly mastermind, we host a weekly author mastermind. You get access to that. You get a 1-hour coaching with me where I give you info and feedback about your book. I'm not afraid to tell you your baby looks ugly. You can ask me about each chapter, about the title, about the cover. I'll give you honest feedback. Most importantly, I'm going to talk to you about joint venture marketing partners that can help you push the book out. So all this value, $9,000 in marketing, the value over here is $6,000, is over $15,000 in value, and I'm going to give it to you for $49.97. So today through June 8th, Saturday only, you get the publishing plus the bonuses for $49.97, and this offer ends on Saturday at 5 p.m. $4,997. You'll never get a better price than that. You'll never get a better value than that. We'll bring your book to market quickly within 30 days. And you might say, I'm still writing the book. It's not done. Here's the beautiful thing. We charge $9,100 all day long. And if you're not going to publish your book until 6 months from now, that's fine. Grab this offer, grab this deal, because this deal is fresh for 12 months. You got 12 months to use it. Jump on my calendar, scan the QR code, get on the calendar. Let's talk to your significant other. If you have a question for me, you can text me there at the phone number, jump on my calendar. And the question is, if not now, when? And I just want to say, I believe in you. I want to be interviewing you in our Dallas studio this fall, this next spring, with your book, this summer with your book in your hand. And on top of this, on top of all this, I'm giving you a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you come to me 29, 30 days from now and you say, Michael, I made a mistake. I'm not ready. I can't do it. My mom's in the hospital or something's happened and I'm not going to be able to do the book this year. We will refund your money 100%, no questions asked. You've got a 30-day money back guarantee. But I just want to say, I believe in you. I believe in your future, and I believe that the future belongs to those who get there first. And if not you, who? And if not now, when? So let's do it. Let's do it together. And with that, if you got a question, feel free to jump in and ask your question. I'll put my phone number back up in a second, and I'm going to close it out with the speech from NASDAQ. But I want to say thank you for watching. People have been watching from around the globe on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and it's been great to have all of you here. And if you want to lock in this deal for your association, for your nonprofit, for your for-profit, you can gift this for somebody. This is a $9,000 publishing package for basically half off. And you say, how can you do it? Well, our team is so good, and we're so streamlined at what we do, and we're so focused on connecting you with the result of your book. Not just to do a book. That's called a vanity publisher. We actually put you into global distribution and make your book available for bookstores and libraries. So share this. Share this with your decision maker. If you're not your decision maker at home, if you are your decision maker, then text me. I can only take the first 5 people. Now here's the kicker. Here is the kicker, and I saved this for last. Only the first 5 authors that come to me to secure this deal, we will be able to take. The others, we will have to say, sorry. That's what we've got the room for, because we don't have the bandwidth to do more than 5 of these. So the offer ends Saturday, and you don't want to miss it. With that being said, who wants to hear what I said at NASDAQ when I talked about why I don't celebrate birthdays? Changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond. Michael D. Butler, Global Book Publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
I don't celebrate birthdays. I just don't celebrate birthdays. And I don't remember exactly why I quit celebrating birthdays. Maybe it was because on my 16th birthday, my parents happened to be both out of town on business trips. I was getting my driver's license. Growing up on the farm in Oklahoma, my brother checked me out of school in third hour and took me to the DMV. Now, I'd studied hard for that test. I wanted to pass it. I wanted my freedom. And I was so proud. I came out and I had my picture, weighing 136 pounds, sophomore. Right there, I got my ticket to freedom. So he takes me to the Pizza Hut, and we're eating pizza and we're celebrating. And I get to drive my car back to the school, and I get to drive my car home that day. We had planned it that way. Maybe the reason I don't celebrate birthdays is when I turned 40, Dad calls me the day before my birthday and says, son, let's celebrate your birthday tomorrow. And I said, yeah, that'd be great. I've got a lot to celebrate. Let's do it. He said, tomorrow at your favorite restaurant, 12 noon. I said, you bet. I'll see you there. Hang up the phone. The next morning, he shows up at the restaurant at 11:50. Dad was always early. He grew up on the dairy farm, and I was always right on time. So 12 o'clock came. I didn't show up. 12:05 comes. He's a little worried. He's texting and calling. It goes straight to voicemail. 12:15, he's like, what's going on? At 12:25, he calls the hospital. Where's my son? 12:45, he drives home to tell my mom, Michael didn't show up. Where was I? Was I in the hospital? No. I was in jail. Because on the eve of my 40th birthday, I went to the bar alone to drink, got into a bar fight, and spent the night of my 40th birthday in jail. What was it about this self-sabotage that the pain was so great that a root of bitterness was growing in my heart at a subterranean level, affecting everything in my life and everyone that I touched in a negative way? I couldn't figure it out. This year, May 10th, I was all ready to celebrate my birthday. Very excited. Friends were coming over at 2 p.m. We had the whole thing planned out. I'll never forget when I was 7 years old, I told my dad, I said, Dad, I'm going to live to be 120. And I think in my subconscious mind, I knew I needed that much time to redeem the root of bitterness and create what my therapist called a root of blessing. He said there's 2 things you need to do to reverse the curse of bitterness and create blessing in your family and to bring it back. And you need to forgive yourself and you need to celebrate. Well, I was good at forgiving myself because I had screwed up a lot and I forgave a lot. And she said, celebrate yourself, come on. And that was my theme song. And I sat there in jail and said, I'm going to run a marathon this year. And Michael, Matthew, Joshua, and Jeremiah, my 4 sons, they stepped out of the participant or the spectator in the last 3 miles. They ran with me in 2008 and crossed that finish line with me. And as I told my sons, I said, sons, I am celebrating your birthday, but guess what? Next year, I'm celebrating my birthday on May the 10th, and all of you are invited. Celebrate with me.
Changing lives in New York and NASDAQ and beyond. Michael D. Butler, global book publisher. We're ending human trafficking at 1040impact.org.
Birthdays.
All right. So thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. And I am looking forward to working with you. We got a lot of great feedback there. So I'm going to close it out with that. We had a lot of great input from around the world and around the country. The replay will be going up soon. And thank you once again. Only 5 people. Only 5 people are going to jump on and get take advantage and be able to take advantage of this offer because it's limited. So it ends Saturday night, and we've already got a couple people that are inquiring about it and asking for an agreement. So I know it's going to fill up probably by, if not tonight, by tomorrow noon, it should probably be gone. So watch the replay if you need to show it to a significant other, and ask me your questions. You can text me or jump on my calendar. Thanks very much. Thanks for joining us. And you know, it's summertime. The rest of the world is taking a break, but you are changing the world because that's exactly who you are. And I want to say, if not now, when? And I want to say, why don't we do it together? Because I believe in you. I believe in the power of your dreams. You know, a few weeks ago, I didn't know I could go 38 miles because at 28 miles, I wanted to give up. I wanted to quit. And I was running my ultra marathon through the streets of Jerusalem. I started at 12:01 a.m. to raise awareness and funds for the hostages and for our 416 kids in our nonprofit, our safe houses in Pakistan. And I wanted to give up at 28 miles. And I was able to press on and do 10 more miles in spite of the fact that my right foot was covered in blisters. And you know what? It was this moment thinking of you. It was this moment thinking of the stories that would come out of this. So those of you that texted me, you're getting the free book and you're getting the course for free as well. So I believe in you. I believe in your dreams. God bless you. Have a great night. Keep changing the world one story at a time.